All right, you ready to unpack something incredible?
Always up for a challenge. Hit me with it.
17 years old, stepping onto the court against Iga Swiatek, the world number 2. Can you imagine the pressure?
Must have been intense.
And she doesn't just win. Mirra Andreeva dominates at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships.
Okay, now that's a story I want to hear, not just some lucky upset.
Right. We're talking aggressive tennis, the kind that makes you wonder, are we watching a future star being born right in front of us?
That's the big question, isn't it?
And that's exactly what we're going to figure out today. We've got reports from the tournament, player profiles, expert analyses. It's all here. Your shortcut guide to this teenage phenom. How did she pull off a shocker like this?
Sounds like a deep dive for sure. Her playing style, the coaches, what this means for women's tennis, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. So first, let's put this win into perspective. Andreeva's 17, right? She's the youngest semifinalist in the entire history of the Dubai tournament. 24 years, nobody younger has ever made it that far.
Wow. Okay, so we're not dealing with just any up-and-comer here. Got it.
And get this, we dug into her background. There's this great profile, Mirra Andreeva. Tennis career and profile, and guess what? She turned pro at 15 back in 2022.
15, goodness. And I bet she's already climbed pretty high in the rankings by now.
Oh yeah, career high ranking of number 14. And don't forget that Olympic silver medal in doubles from the Paris Games last year.
Okay, she's not just climbing the ranks, she's rocketing past them.
Exactly. And speaking of exceeding expectations, remember reading Andreeva upset Swiatek? That stat about her winning 67% of Swiatek's second serve points.
I do, yeah. Practically unheard of, especially against a player like Swiatek.
Most struggle to return her second serve effectively at all, but Andreeva, she's dictating those points. It's unbelievable.
Tells you a lot about her return game. Strong. Decisive.
So let's break down the match, some of those key moments. Andreeva upsets Swiatek, lays them out really well. First thing that pops out first set, she breaks Swiatek's serve. Twice.
Whoa. Hold on. A 17-year-old breaking a seasoned champion like Swiatek. Not once, but twice.
Yep. Talk about a confidence booster. That had to send shockwaves through Swiatek.
Absolutely. You don't just break someone like Swiatek's serve twice without some serious mental strength.
And then, second set, she's down 3-1. You'd think, okay, here comes the pressure, maybe a little choke.
Right. Time for the veteran to take control.
Nope. She rallies back, wins 5 straight games. Boom. What's that tell you about her mental game?
That's incredible. I mean, 3-1 down against Swiatek, most would crumble. But she turns it around, says a lot about her composure under pressure. Makes you wonder, how much is raw talent? How much is Conchita Martinez's coaching?
And there was that moment, remember? Swiatek challenged a line call, video replay, the whole bit. Andreeva doesn't even flinch, holds her serve, laser focus.
That's the kind of composure you just don't see often, especially in young players. High-stakes match, the crowd's going wild. That challenge could go either way. But she stays calm. She's got what it takes to handle the pressure cooker. Though, gotta acknowledge, Swiatek did say after the match her prep wasn't ideal. Hectic tournament schedule and all that. Didn't make excuses, but it's a bit of context.
It's true. Even the top players have their off days. And pro tennis, well, it's grueling.
No doubt. But Swiatek didn't downplay Andreeva's win either. Recognized her skill. Attributed the loss, at least in part, to herself not being fully prepared.
Right, just reinforces the idea that even in defeat, champions, they're analyzing, looking for ways to improve. Swiatek's comments, they don't diminish Andreeva's victory, just provide a little more insight.
Agreed. Adds another layer to the story.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. What makes Andreeva tick? What makes her such a force on the court? We found 2 articles, really insightful. Mirra Andreeva, Tennis Strategies and Strengths, and Mirra Andreeva and Conchita Martinez, a winning partnership.
Lots to unpack there. Where do we even begin?
Her playing style, built around this aggressive baseline game, reminds some analysts of Belinda Bencic, Victoria Azarenka, that kind of power.
Oh, yeah, I can see those comparisons for sure. But I bet she brings something unique too, right?
Absolutely. She's incredibly fast, like lightning in a tennis skirt. Covers the court so efficiently, puts her opponents on the defensive right away.
Speed kills, as they say.
And some even think she's quicker than Bencic or Azarenka. Now let's talk about Conchita Martinez, her coach. Grand Slam champ herself. Her influence is undeniable.
Ah, Martinez. Legend. Yeah. What's she bringing to the table for Andreeva?
This fearless, risk-taking approach. You know, like having a blueprint for success handed to you by someone who's been there, done that, won it all.
That's invaluable. Having a mentor who's been in the trenches knows what it takes.
And what's interesting is their relationship, it goes beyond just strategy and technique.
Yeah.
Andreeva will deviate from the game plan, improvise on the court, And Martinez is cool with it. They're all about exploiting weaknesses, but also adapting on the fly.
Interesting. That flexibility is huge in tennis. Keeps your opponent guessing. You can't just stick to a script. Every match is different. Every opponent has their quirks.
Right. You got to be able to read the game as it unfolds. It's like chess. Always thinking several moves ahead, but ready to adjust if the board suddenly changes. And what I love, there's this anecdote about how Martinez uses humor to help Andreeva deal with frustration. Apparently, during one tough practice, Andreeva's getting visibly frustrated.
I think I read about this. What did Martinez do? Give her a pep talk? Break down her technique?
Nope. Starts juggling tennis balls.
Juggling? Seriously? That's amazing.
Right. And it worked. Andreeva starts laughing, regains her focus. It's like sometimes you don't need a lecture, just a little levity.
Absolutely. Shows how well Martinez understands the mental side of the game. Sometimes the light touch is all it takes, especially with a young player.
Really shows you that connection, player and coach. It goes deeper than just the technical stuff.
So much of it is about trust, understanding. You can see that bond reflected in how Andreeva plays. Calm under pressure, bounces back from setbacks, willing to go for those risky shots.
Right. So we've got this incredible talent, aggressive style, guided by a Grand Slam champ who gets the mental game. It's almost like we're watching a new blueprint for success being written. But what does a win like this against someone as dominant as Swiatek, what does it tell us about the future of women's tennis?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Everyone's talking about it. Swiatek's been such a force. To see her lose to a 17-year-old, it's sending shockwaves.
Yeah, feels like things could be shifting. A new generation's about to shake things up.
Could be. And the question is Andreeva the one to watch? The next big name?
Is this her moment?
Too early to say, for sure. But that performance in Dubai, combined with what she's already accomplished, yeah, she's got the potential. And that win against Swiatek, it's a statement. She's not just happy to be there, she's there to win it all.
We can't forget her older sister, Erica. She's a pro tennis player, too. Seems like talent runs in the family.
Definitely helps, having a sibling who gets it, The pressures of pro tennis. It's built-in support, someone to share the passion with, someone who understands the ups and downs.
Now, this is where things get even more interesting. Another article, Rising Stars of Women's Tennis, they highlight Coco Gauff, her journey. She was really young when she broke onto the scene, too. Any parallels there? Gauff's trajectory and Andreeva's.
Good point. There are some similarities. Both burst onto the scene early, showed this incredible talent, maturity beyond their years. Both have powerful baseline games, not afraid to take risks. And they've both shown they can be resilient, even against the top players.
But there are differences too, right? I mean, the article on Gauff, it talks about power, athleticism, those being her big strengths. Andreeva, she seems to be a bit more, finesse, tactical awareness.
Yeah, I see what you mean. They're both aggressive. But Gauff, she uses that power, athleticism to just overwhelm her opponents. Andreeva's got this more nuanced approach. She uses her speed to control the court, but she's got more variety in her shots, more strategic in how she builds a point.
It's like watching a chess player out there. It's not just about hitting the ball hard, it's about outsmarting your opponent. And that brings us back to Conchita Martinez.
Ah, yes. Martinez was known for her tactical brilliance, reading her opponents, anticipating their moves. She was a master strategist on the court. And it seems she's passing that wisdom down to Andreeva. And it's working.
So, bigger picture. It feels like we're at a turning point in women's tennis. This new generation, Gauff, Andreeva, they're bringing a new style, a new level of competition. Pretty exciting for fans like us.
No doubt. This influx of young talent is shaking things up, the old guard's being challenged, and the future, wide open. Who knows what's going to happen next?
Okay, before we get too carried away speculating about the future, let's bring it back to the present. What have we learned about Mirra Andreeva?
Well, we started with that incredible upset, beating Iga Swiatek in Dubai. Put her on the map. We know she's the youngest semifinalist in that tournament's history. A testament to her talent.
Right, and she turned pro at 15. Already has a list of accomplishments. The Olympic silver medal in doubles. We're not just talking about potential anymore. She's proven she can compete at the highest level.
We looked at some of those crucial moments against Swiatek. How she broke serve, rallied when she was down, stayed focused through those challenges and video replays. That mental toughness is something special.
We also took into account what Swiatek said after the match, how demanding the schedule is, giving credit where it's due, but also acknowledging that even the best players can have an off day.
Context is everything, right? Then we dug into what makes Andreeva such a unique player. The aggressive baseline game, that incredible speed, how she combines power and finesse to outmaneuver her opponents.
And of course, Conchita Martinez, her coaching, her mentorship, the impact is undeniable. Even that story about using humor to help Andreeva manage frustration, the mental game is just as important as the physical one.
We even compared her to Coco Gauff. Two rising stars, both bringing something different to the table. It's a new era for women's tennis.
So what's next for Mirra Andreeva? Can she keep this momentum going? Will she challenge for those Grand Slam titles? Will she become a consistent force at the top?
That's what we'll be watching to see. It's going to be a fascinating journey. One thing's for sure, though, Mirra Andreeva is a name you'll be hearing a lot more of.
And, thinking about Andreeva's ability to improvise, to adapt on the court, it makes me wonder, and, thinking about Andreeva's ability to improvise, to adapt on the court, it makes me wonder if we're seeing a new trend in women's tennis.
Interesting thought. For a long time, the emphasis, especially in coaching, it was all about consistency. Develop a reliable game. Stick to a particular style. Minimize risk.
Right, play it safe.
Exactly. But with Andreeva, and we see it a bit with Gauff too, there's this willingness to break the mold.
They're not afraid to shake things up a bit.
Right. They take risks, mix up their shots, they improvise, and that makes them so much tougher to prepare for. Opponents can't just rely on old match footage or, those preconceived notions of how they'll play.
It's like they're bringing this whole other level to the mental game. Not just trying to outplay you physically, but keep you guessing mentally too.
And it's not just random improvisation either. They're making smart decisions out there, reacting to their opponent's weaknesses, the flow of the match, even the court conditions.
So it's like raw talent, good coaching, plus this instinct, this ability to read the game and just react.
Exactly. It's a fascinating evolution we're seeing. Makes the sport even more exciting to watch.
Before we wrap up, gotta ask, if you could give one piece of advice to someone who really wants to understand Andreeva's game, what would it be?
Watch her matches, definitely. But don't just watch the score or, the highlight reel. Pay attention to her movement, how she chooses her shots, how she responds to different situations. You'll start to notice the patterns, the way she builds her points, the little adjustments she makes.
Don't just watch her win, watch how she wins.
Exactly. And if you really want to go deeper, listen to the commentators, read what former players are saying. They can offer some great technical insights.
Okay, so to sum it all up, we've covered Mirra Andreeva's rise, that stunning upset against Iga Swiatek, what's fueling her success, her aggressive style, the mental toughness, her unique relationship with Conchita Martinez.
We've also talked about what her emergence might mean for the future of women's tennis, how this willingness to improvise, to adapt, it could really change the way the game is played at the highest level.
And I think the biggest takeaway here, Mirra Andreeva is a player you do not want to miss. She's bringing this whole new level of excitement to the court. And this is just the beginning of her story.
It's going to be a fascinating journey to follow, that's for sure. Who knows what records she'll break, what titles she'll win, how her game will evolve. But one thing's clear, Mirra Andreeva is a force to be reckoned with. Women's tennis just got a whole lot more interesting.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Mirra Andreeva. We'll catch you next time for another great story.